Hi everyone, welcome and thank you for joining us today. My name is Jane Hewitt and I'm the Capability Building Coordinator at Connecting Up and TechSoup New Zealand. Connecting Up and TechSoup New Zealand are part of the Info Exchange Group, a not-for-profit social enterprises that tackles the biggest social challenges through the smart and creative use of technology. For those of you who haven't attended a webinar with us before, Connecting Up and TechSoup facilitate an annual training calendar of online webinars, workshops, boot camps and webcons to help the social sector upskill in all things digital. And you can check out our training and education menu on both of the websites for more events coming up for the rest of the year. So welcome today to the webinar Employee Engagement and Continuous Performance Management with Dan Taylor from 15Five. And before we begin, we'll just start with a bit of housekeeping today. All lines are muted, so if you have any technical problems, please type them into the questions box on the GoToWebinar panel and I should be able to assist. If you have any questions during the session, please also type them into the questions box and we'll have a short Q&A session coming up at the end of today's webinar. And please note that your comments and questions aren't visible to the rest of the group. And please note this webinar is being recorded and you'll get a copy of the recording and the slides towards the end of today. And just before I start, I'd like to remind everybody that we do there's a short survey that will pop up at the end of today's webinar and we'd really appreciate any feedback. So thank you very much and I will pass over to Dan to get things started.
Great, thank you. I appreciate the introduction and I'm excited to be talking with everybody today. My name is Dan Taylor and I am a partnerships manager at 15Five. You know, as Jane had noted, I'm excited to be here and I'm going to be talking about the idea of continuous performance management and how it helps companies, how it's great for nonprofit groups, and how 15Five can help you with that. And I do apologize that my camera is off today. We had a slight issue there, but you'll be able to hear my voice. And if there's a chance to meet over Zoom in the future, I'd love to be in touch with any of you out there that would like to learn more or have further conversations, and hopefully we'll be able to connect face to face at that point. So without further ado, I will jump right into it. And just a quick agenda today. First, we're going to start off with why would somebody look at 15Five? What's interesting about it? What is continuous performance management? And then we'll talk about tools that are available for your usage and leave some time for questions at the end. But 15Five is a little background on us. We were founded in 2012 and we're a company of about 200 employees at this point. We are focused on continuous performance management. So really trying to upgrade the way people conduct performance management, upgrade the way that we engage our employees, and we're going to dive into what that really means in a minute here. Currently being used by over 3,000 customers around the world, and we're available across all industries. Now, you know, when we're thinking about performance management, you know, in the old days, you'd see a spike in engagement when you're setting goals. You know, a lot of activity, people are really thinking about these goals, they're setting them, but then typically you'd see that level of activity kind of fall off and people aren't thinking too much about these goals. Maybe there's a mid-year check-in and then there's a big spike at the end of the year when you're doing your annual review. But you know, that doesn't really work for a modern company, a company that wants to have their employees that are highly engaged. So what we try and promote is you know, just kind of a holistic approach where employees get engaged and they stay engaged throughout the year. So this graph, this second line represents, you know, how a company that's utilizing the idea of continuous performance management would look, where they're setting their goals, they're checking in on them throughout the year. There's opportunities to recognize employees throughout the year for the good work they're doing. You're giving ad hoc feedback. Maybe you're doing more reviews than just one at the end of the year. Maybe you're doing quarterly, maybe you're doing biannually. You're focused on the company's competencies and the different ideas that the company is putting forward to engage their employees. They're not just writings on the wall, but they're actually being implemented. So this is our idea of how companies can engage their employees throughout the year. Now, the three areas that we feel that 15.5 can really be helpful for, and the concepts of 15.5, is performance, engagement, and retention. And these are three areas that people often overlook. They're focused on other things. They're busy, and so that these areas may not get as much focus. And our hope is that with some of these philosophies and the tools with 15.5, this can be a little bit more automated, a little easier to approach, so that you're free to focus on more strategic HR and not be worrying about this on a day-to-day basis. So with performance, people need a better day-to-day goal awareness. And with engagement, managers need education and training because they are the primary factor in engagement. And with retention, organizations need an accurate understanding of what actually drives retention, so keeping people at the company. So basically, we need a holistic solution, something that will address all of it. A couple of interesting statistics here. 67% of executives believe that their teams know the organization's top objective. So they think that most everybody knows the direction of the company. However, in reality, only 2% of the workforce can actually name these top goals. So people are certainly not focused on them if they can't even name them. Engagement, the manager accounts for at least 70% of the variance in employee engagement, but 61% of new managers never receive any training. So if these managers are so important for the employee experience, why are they not being trained? We need to emphasize this. We need to make sure these new managers have tools as they're training in, as they're learning, and that's going to trickle down. That's going to make a huge difference for the entirety of the company. Now, for retention, in the past, the world had generally looked at these four items as kind of the keys to employee retention: wages, the work environment, benefits, vacation policy. And these are certainly important things. These are things that employees will definitely take into account. However, to truly retain employees, we need to talk about things like coaching conversations, feedback, performance review, recognition, and growth for potential. Studies have shown that these are things that employees crave, especially this new rising generation is really looking for feedback and ability to grow. And these are the things that they're going to be looking for. If they don't have them at their company, they'll move on to greener pastures. They'll be looking for a new company that can provide them with some of these options. Now, this has been a crazy year. Thankfully, it looks like we may be returning to some sense of normalcy, but I would say that I think remote work is here to stay for a lot of companies. And so these issues of engagement, retention, employee engagement, they only amplify as people become remote. So when people are spread far and wide, there can be more issues with feeling disconnected or feeling not recognized or not engaged or disconnected from your peers. So a system that can help you engage with these different issues and help you solve these issues can be vitally important to keeping people engaged and involved. So taking a quick overview look at 15.5, it's a software that is meant to really empower these managers. Like we talked about earlier, managers account for such a variance as far as what an employee's experience is. So you want to give them the tools that are going to enable them to give these employees a high quality experience, give them the feedback, give them the tools, give them a safe space where they can talk about what's important to them, where they're having success, where they're struggling. So to give you a brief walkthrough of the tools that are involved with a 15.5 platform, tools that certainly anybody can implement, whether you're using 15.5 or not. The one thing that 15.5 does is just makes it simple, puts it under one roof, makes it easy, intuitive. quick, automated reminders. But our approach to this idea of continuous performance management, it really starts with objectives, goal setting. You want to set goals at the company-wide level, and you can cascade those down. So you have department level goals, team level goals, individual level goals, and yet people who are individual contributors have clear visibility to how their contribution is contributing to the overall company direction. So you want to have that clarity, that ability to collaborate on goals, the clear direction, the clear numbers to shoot for or objectives to shoot for. So with 15.5, we use the OKR method, objectives and key results, and we keep that very clean and neat, and you're able to dive into it and understand how you're doing on your goals and keep them updated. Another thing that we really believe at 15.5 is that performance reviews should be based in the latest studies, the latest science. So we've put a lot of focus into positive psychology and the idea that people can get feedback from all different angles. So we've incorporated 360 reviews. We've incorporated the ability to customize these performance reviews, input your own company's values and competencies so that you can talk about these different items in your performance review. 15.5 also comes with engagement surveys, which is a way to get an overall sense for how the company is doing. You do this anonymously so you can get people's honest input, find the areas where you need to grow and you need to move forward and be able to take actionable next steps. We have consultants that will help you interpret the engagement survey and be able to decipher what next steps to be taking. The product also includes the ability to request feedback. So any person at any time can be giving feedback to another or requesting feedback. One-on-ones are a vital, important part of the continuous performance management process. So having the ability to sit down in person or over the phone or over Zoom, and within 15.5, you've got the ability to input talking points, action items, next steps, so that when you get to that moment, you're not just sitting there and looking at each other with a blank stare. What are we going to talk about today? Oh, I don't know. You've got clear lineup of what you're going to talk about. You know what you're going to focus on, and you're able to check that off when you're done, assign out action items and next steps. And then also recognition. In the software, we call it high fives. So any person at the company can send a recognition over to a colleague, and they can give them an acknowledgement of a job well done. Let them know, hey, thank you for the presentation today. I can tell that you've put in a lot of time and effort. And so with these high fives, it builds that culture of gratitude and the idea that people will be able to see who's giving and receiving high fives. There's a news feed of high fives. So it's a great way to build that culture and build morale. There's elements in the software to help you set a career vision so that you can establish where a career could be headed in the future. And then lastly, this is a real differentiator for 15.5 is the check-in. And the check-in is a weekly questionnaire, very short. It's meant to take about 15 minutes to fill in, about 5 minutes for a manager to review. So short amount of time leading to a high level of engagement. And this check-in, you're prompted to talk about how you're doing on your objectives. What are your goals? How are you progressing towards them? Are you on track to hit them? You're prompted to give a high five. You're prompted to talk about the big wins that you've experienced. The company can put in customized questions if there's things that they want to get insight on. So it's a really quick and easy way. You can see how that would be helpful for a remote team who maybe they're not having chance meetings at the water cooler, so they need an outlet. They need a way to communicate something that's going to be consistent, because we all know how that goes. Sometimes when you just tell yourself, well, I'll just check in whenever I got the chance. Sometimes weeks can go by when you haven't checked in yet. So it helps to have these things automated, send reminders. Now I know that's just a brief fly through of the software, but like I mentioned earlier, I'm happy to provide demos, to provide further explanation if anybody wants to reach out afterwards, or if you're viewing the recording on delay, happy to provide more in depth, and certainly the website has more detail on the software itself. Integrations, we definitely believe in being integrated with all the leading systems out there, make sure that we eliminate the burden from the teams out there. So you'll see various different integrations that we have available or coming soon. Now, just talking about, what's the ROI here? We truly believe that people are the biggest asset to a company. So if you're running an organization, or you consult for organizations, or you work for an organization, I'm sure that you are on similar page with me here, that without people who are engaged, a company's certainly going to falter. And we truly believe that, and we've seen through studies that companies that have highly engaged employees will see an immense change as far as productivity, absenteeism, and improvement in their employee turnover. And if you make a couple assumptions and estimate that out, you're seeing savings in the millions for these companies. Just to walk through this real quick, a 21% in productivity for a 21% boost, I should say, in productivity for companies where their employees are highly engaged. A 37% drop in absenteeism, so taking time off without having time off. You're seeing that drop off drastically. And then best of all, a 40% increase in employee turnover. So companies with engaged employees are finding that their employees are more likely to stay with the company for longer stretches of time. Basically, they're happier at work. They like where they are. They don't want to move on. And so, as I noted earlier, the total business value to a 30-person company is over $1 million with these boosts that we see. And the business value for a 100-employee company is over $5 million. So with those kinds of numbers, it's obviously becomes interesting, if you consult for a business or you run a business, of how can we boost employee engagement. Like it says up here, employee engagement is not just something that's nice to have. A lot of times that's how we think of it, like, well, it's kind of a side idea. It's not something that we're going to throw a lot of time or effort into, but it really is something that is a must-have item, whatever your strategy is, to engage your employees. So with 15.5, we obviously believe that taking the scientific approach, taking the comprehensive approach, that's the way to do it. Other systems you'll see out there may have an add-on employee engagement software, but it's going to be a little bit more peripheral. It's going to be a little bit more outdated. It's not going to be what we've talked about, where you're setting weekly check-ins, you're setting weekly one-on-ones, you're taking time to give feedback and give reviews, kind of like the graph we looked at the start of the year. You got to have that high level of engagement all throughout the year. So taking a look, if you're talking with clients, if you're looking at your own company and you're saying, we're facing challenges with improving employee engagement or improving the review process, or we're facing high turnover, we don't retain our talent well, or our team has gone remote and we don't have the ability to check in with them as much as we would like to. Or maybe your team is experiencing rapid growth and you don't want to lose that great culture that you had as a startup. You want to be able to keep that connectivity that you've felt. Or you've had changes in your senior leadership and you want to make sure that the culture stays consistent, people don't become disengaged. Or you want to make changes to the annual review, or you have first-time managers that are inexperienced. Maybe you finished an engagement survey and now you want to take action on that. You want to get more engaged. You want to work on retention. Or maybe you have managers that are ineffective. You want to give them better tools. Or you need a system to track OKRs. You need goal planning. You need the ability to give feedback or do engagement surveys or recognize employees. I won't read everything off here, but these are the kinds of things to think about when you're assessing your company, you're assessing your client's company, and you're thinking, what is it that we need to do to take that next step? It's to look at engagement. It's to look at the ability to get people focused on goals, focused on performance. So just to give a little case study here, it's great for non-for-profit groups. One case study here, the American Red Cross. You can find the full case study on 15.5's website, but how does it work in real life? Is continuous performance management something that is actually working for people out there? And the answer is yes, it certainly is. It's not just theoretical, but at this point, there's thousands of companies out there that are using the philosophies of continuous performance management. And so just to give you an idea, the American Red Cross is a nonprofit humanitarian organization that prevents and alleviates human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors. So this is a pretty familiar company over here. I'm in the US. I know most people on this broadcast are not, but you may have heard of the Red Cross, a great organization, and they use 15.5, and they've listed as benefits that it keeps their employees, their volunteers, and their management connected. It gives their employees a voice to share feedback, and it taps into the ideas and insights of the frontline staff. So it kind of falls right in line with what we were talking about earlier, how you can give people a voice, you can give people clarity, you can give people vision into what the company is doing, whether they are the person who's an individual contributor and is new to the company, or they're the person who's at the top who sees everything. But what 15.5 really seeks to do is create a safe space for talking about your work, talking about the things that you need, the things that you're succeeding with, the things that you're not succeeding with. And it allows companies to make change. It allows them to address things when they're small so that they don't grow into large problems, and you're able to make changes or give attention and recognition to the people that are making huge contributions, or maybe you're seeing things that maybe somebody's manager is not seeing. You can send that recognition. Anybody at the company can send a recognition to another person. So a couple quotes here from the Red Cross case study. 15.5 serves as a reality check on the entire organization because for the first time, I can see all sides of an issue from everyone's point of view. So this employee here is the division disaster executive. So an executive here is citing that they previously had just looked at things from one point of view, and now he's able to see what others are seeing, people on the front lines, people in the offices, people who are volunteers, and they're giving input. It's systematic, it's organized. And he also goes on to say, quite simply, 15.5 gives employees a tool to share what matters to them, and that helps managers keep on top of everything. With 15.5, I find out what I didn't know I didn't know. So more insight onto what others are seeing, clear communication, coordination over large distances. So to give you an idea, what is providing this clarity? Some of the questions that the managers are asking their team members at the Red Cross are, what is preventing you from being successful in your job this week? What can we do this week to help volunteers make a difference? If you were in charge of the American Red Cross, what changes would you make? What moments were you proud of this week and why? So, these are things that they have decided are helpful for them. They can be altered, they can be changed. Certainly every company is going to have different things that they want to know, but these are good questions that are open-ended, that allow people to talk, and if you take the answers to these questions, acknowledge them, make changes, give feedback, give response, you start to build that trust. And having that trust is vitally important to having engaged employees. So just to talk real quick about 15.5, if there are those of you out there that consult that are looking for solutions for your clients, we do have a great partnership program where we work with you, and we have a very easy implementation timeline. It's displayed on the screen right here, but it's usually a 4 to 6 week process where people are able to just get set up, starting with the implementation planning, the admin training, the executive alignment, and then winding up with the company-wide training. So easy to get started. 15.5 is intentionally kept simple, so we try to make it easy for you to use, easy for your clients, and as a part of the partnership program, we really try and give you everything you need and be a helping hand for you. So a couple of key takeaways from part one here. We truly believe that a company's greatest asset is its people. And so that's something that we really try to hammer home, whether you're using 15.5 or not. We really do believe in these principles, and we believe that it's something that everybody can take away. Is if you've lost that piece of focus, just try and bring it back in, that the company's people are truly the greatest asset. And by engaging them and getting the most out of them, you'll also find that they'll feel the most satisfied, and that they'll come up with great ideas, they'll contribute to the culture, and overall, you'll just end up with more success. Another key takeaway, 15.5 can help your clients transform their organization by unlocking employee potential. That's what the tool is all about, is unlocking employee potential, helping them move from an organization where people may not have clarity, may not have communication, to an organization that's performing, all firing on all pistons, making good choices, giving people a voice, giving people clarity. And then the last item here, when people are looking for improvement in their OKRs, in employee engagement, performance reviews, managing remote teams, that's when 15.5 might be a great fit for you. Just wanted to highlight a few of the resources here. 15.5 runs a wide variety of webinars, podcasts. We've got courses. We call it the Best Self Academy. We've got ebooks, transformational services, our blog, our success center. We've got a ton of free resources online. Feel free to go check out the website, access those, utilize it with your company, with your clients. And it's just a great way to get involved. A lot of it is free, like I mentioned, so that's always great. Everybody loves some free stuff. So encourage you to check that out. Check out our conferences and different things that we host. And then this is just a little more on that same topic. HR courses, HR podcasts, they're all available out there. Definitely go check them out. And before we wrap to Q&A, I wanted to just shift gears a little bit, and I'm going to bring up a demo version of the software here, and just give you a little feel of how it works, how it looks in action. So bear with me for a second. Okay, so you should be seeing the home screen of a 15.5 account right here, and I'm logged in a demo account. So this is just fictional data, but I mentioned the ideas of a check-in, of a one-on-one, a high five, an objective, ability to give and receive feedback, performance reviews, known in the system as the best self review, engagement surveys, and then reporting. So to give you an idea of how that actually works and how it looks in real life, here is an example of a check-in. So this employee, Seth, will come in. This company has it set for once a week. You could set this for once every other week. You could set it for once a month. And he'll come in and he'll say, how am I feeling at work this week? Maybe I'm not feeling that good. maybe I'm somewhere in the middle, maybe I'm feeling great. He's got an option to put in any sample text here. So if he wants to give more explanation about why it's been such a great week. And then he'll be prompted to talk about his objectives. So he has one objective assigned to him. This could be multiple objectives at your company. It could be one. And so his objective is to accelerate recurring revenue growth. So he can expand this down and see, okay, here's the key results that are going to help me achieve this goal, accelerating recurring revenue growth. So I can see here, hire 5 new inside sales reps. So this week, as I'm doing my check-in, I'll say, okay, I'm moving along on this goal. I have 2 inside sales reps hired. My target is 5. I'm trying to increase monthly revenue. So let's say I'm at 55 here. Deliver 2 million in subscription revenues. I'd update, this to whatever it might be. I can mark this as complete or not complete. And then I can indicate, am I on track? Am I at risk? Am I behind? I can once again add a little color commentary here. Yep, so there we go. And I can post that as part of my update. So this is helping serve me because I know I'm going to be talking about this each week, so it builds accountability. And then it's going to also be helping my manager because my manager is going to have a quick check-in of how I'm doing. I can set priorities here. So here was my priorities from last week. I can mark those as complete when they're done. I can add in new priorities. So let's say this week I'm really going to be focused on making sales calls. I can indicate that here, and that will show up as a priority, and I'll be reminded of that through the week. One thing to note is you can put in any type of notifications. If you want to be notified via email about all of this, you can. If you don't want to be notified about certain things, you can uncheck that so it doesn't get too annoying for you, but you can just kind of indicate what level of automated notifications you want here. Then you're also prompted to answer a few questions, and these are customized so the company can push these out. We talked about those ones that the Red Cross was asking to their companies, to their employees, but here in this sample company, they're asking about any wins that we'd like to share and any challenges that we're facing. They've also pushed out a question, as a whole, how would you rate the level of trust between departments? So once again, these are customizable. You can put in, rating scales. You can put in free response. So a lot of flexibility, but you want to keep it concise so it's not overwhelming, so people can finish this in about 15 minutes. Prompted to give a high five. So this is how that would look. Here I've tagged my coworker Salome, and I'm saying, thank you for the extra help with the quarterly reports this week. Your attention to detail is so appreciated. And if you like, you can even hashtag your company values in there so that you can better organize and you can see what company values are being used most frequently at the company. And then once you are finished with that, you hit submit. That's going to go to your manager. Quick and easy. Manager will review it, can comment to you, and can push out ideas to your one-on-one so that when it comes time to discuss, you come over here to your one-on-one, you can see, okay, I've got a conversation coming up with Leah. Let's see what we're going to talk about. Okay, we've got some talking points here. We've already checked this off, like we've already finished talking about what's going well this week. Feedback on the quarterly team meeting presentation. Let's check that off. You can see, let's add another talking point. The manager could add another talking point as well, so you're both contributing to this. You can set action items. Once again, check them off when they're done, assign them to whoever they should be assigned to, a place for notes. And then with the time that we have left here, I also want to just show you objectives because this is really one of the important parts of the software. Under objectives, you're able to visualize the company's goals, and that's so important just to make sure everybody's involved, everybody knows the direction. You've got a few different ways of looking at it, whether it be in that flat view that we were just looking at, or this is kind of a cascading view. So you see the company-wide goal here, accelerate recurring revenue growth. We can see that's owned by Seth. That's why it was showing up in Seth's check-in. And here's some other team level and department level goals. We can see how those cascade down to other team level goals, and these could continue to cascade down to individual level goals. Now, these are all the overall objectives, and each of these has key results that are being tracked and updated so that you can accomplish your overall objectives. So you see how each of these opens up for greater clarity and greater understanding, easy to update. And as you want to add in new goals, you just come up here to create a new objective. And it's very simple, just what you would expect, intuitive. You know, what's going to be your goal? Overall, list it right here. Set the owner. Is it going to be an objective for a person or a group or the whole company? Do you want it to be aligned with a parent objective? So let's say the overall objective is increase sales. The key results might be make 200 calls this quarter. And so then you'd adjust your target starting at 0, ending at 200. We're going to measure that in numerical value, or we could do percent, dollars. This is going to be completed, not completed, or you can change the currency. You know, down where you are, you may be measuring it not in US dollars, so you've got flexibility there. You want to add in some more key results, whatever you might want to put in there. It's totally up to you. List that to be public, list that to be private, set the start and end dates, and then hit create objective. And that's easy as can be. You can you know, send these key objectives out so they're shared between different people. You've got a ton of flexibility, and we just try and keep it simple, keep it easy to use. And then when you come back here to the objective screen, you'll be able to see that. And you've got a bunch of different ways you can look at it. If you want to see the company-wide goals, only the goals owned by yourself, or just owned by particular departments, owned by teams, or maybe you want to break that down by current objectives, or look at past objectives, or just objectives that are in a particular status, on track, behind, at risk. So there's tons of flexibility, tons of ability to move in between different viewpoints. And so that's just a little flavor for 15.5. You know, request feedback is another great piece. The performance review, the engagement surveys, they all are part of the puzzle, giving you this holistic view. But those are a few things I wanted to highlight before we moved on. So with that being said, I'm going to minimize my screen here, and I'm just going to come back to the slides, and I'll open it up for questions if there's anyone that had any questions to ask.
Thank you, Dan. That was great. Just one from Jan, who was asking, can you upload documents onto the platform?
So no, you can't upload them in the sense that, you know, just take a PDF and just store it there. You know, if you're asking more about uploading from like an Excel spreadsheet, like bringing people data in large scale, that is more possible, but there isn't a place to just store documents purely as a document storage platform.
Cool. And Beth was just saying, when you have the one-on-one, can you edit that so it's teams having meetups?
So the one-on-one is set up for just one-on-one conversations and not for a full team check-in. So unfortunately, no on that one.
Okay, great. We haven't got any more questions at the moment. That was brilliant. Thank you very much. Very informative. I'll just put up the link so that everybody has can find out a little bit more about how to access the product by connecting up. And if there we go. And if anybody does have any questions coming up, please do get in touch with us and we can pass them along to Dan. And as I said at the beginning, we will be sending out a copy of the presentation and the slides towards the end of today. And I'll include Dan or 15.5's contact details if there's any questions coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just hold here for a sec if anyone's got any questions that are coming up, but I just wanted to put in one last little plug here. This is the website 155.com, and my piece of the puzzle is partnerships. So if you're interested in partnering with 15.5, please do reach out. You can just come in here, you can explore the resources, the content. You can explore really a lot of different things, not just about our software, but about HR topics in general. And if you want to learn more, you want to connect with me, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm dan.taylor@15.5.com. So that's easy to remember. It's just my name @15.5.com. And I'd be happy to field further questions, have further conversations.
Lovely, thank you, Dan. Yeah, and there's some great resources on that website as well, some great case studies for people to have a look at. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us today, and thank you very much once again, Dan. And please do get in touch, people, if you would like to learn more. And keep an eye out on your emails, and you'll get a copy of the presentation towards the end of today. Thanks once again, Dan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.